more on that call between President Biden and Russian President Vladimir Putin, we welcome Ron Johnson from the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. Sir, great to see you. Thank you for being here. Do you think today's meeting did anything to stop Putin from invading Ukraine?
Well, David, I don't know. I wasn't on the call. I didn't hear what was really discussed. I know the president said he has deep concerns. That sounds an awful lot like President Obama's serious consequences that he always threatened. What we do know is that you achieve peace through strength. What we also know is under President Biden's administration and Democrat governance, just about all their policies are weakening America. Open borders, massive partisan deficit spending, the embarrassing and dangerous surrender in Afghanistan. That sends a strong signal to our adversaries that this might be the time to act when President Biden is in control of things. So I'm highly concerned. One thing in our Senate Foreign Relations Committee hearing today, we did show unanimity from a standpoint that we will support whatever serious consequences President Biden would enact. But it may be too little too late. I'm highly concerned.
Well, of course, he was in the administration, the Obama administration, when the Russians just waltzed in 2014, in February of 2014, when the ground was hard enough to send the tanks in. Maybe that's what Putin's waiting for. But Jake Sullivan was there as well in 2014. Here's what he had to say. He's now the National Security Advisor. Here's what he had to say after the meeting today. Of course, he came out instead of the president. Here's Jake Sullivan.
That things we did not do in 2014, we are prepared to do now.
But shouldn't we have done them now? That is to say, with regard to the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, shouldn't we make action against it now, reverse the orders that Biden put in, the waiver of what the Trump administration did? Shouldn't we actually take action now rather than waiting until something happens?
Obviously allowing Vladimir Putin to complete the construction of the Nord Stream 2 pipeline was a blunder. What we should be doing, this is what I asked Undersecretary Nuland today, are you ready to work with our European partners to dismantle and tell Vladimir Putin, we are going to dismantle the Nord Stream 2 pipeline if you invade Ukraine. But again, we've exhibited such weakness. What is the credibility of those types of threats? So they need to act. They need to act now. They need to get our European partners on board. We need to be unified in what we are going to do, and we need to spell it out very clearly. No strategic ambiguity. We need to let Vladimir Putin, if you do this, this is what will happen, and we have the unanimous support of NATO and our European partners, including Germany.
Jake Sullivan also said that President Biden does what he says he'll do. Well, we all remember in Afghanistan, he said he wasn't going to pull the troops out until every American was out. He didn't do that. Hasn't Vladimir Putin already been taking a full measure of the man and what he says he's going to do and what he actually does?
Well, again, that's our concern. When you demonstrate weakness, when you prove you are weak, that this is what China does, this is what Russia does. When you go crawling back, begging for a deal with Iran, even though the last deal was horrible for this country and for world peace and security, people take a measure of what your actions are. Actions speak much louder than words, and the actions of this president of Democrat governance is to weaken America and encourage our adversaries.
And the words are pretty parse, by the way. This is the document, the little brief. I'm holding it up here. If you could take a picture of it. It's just about 3 sentences long that the White House put out of their 2-hour meeting. It's real boilerplate stuff. They need to de-escalate and return to diplomacy. The two men agreed their teams will stay in close touch. And then Russia came out with their own readout of the meeting in which they demanded that we rule out any expansion of NATO on the borders with Russia. That would include Ukraine, of course, and also rule out deployment of offensive strike weapon systems in states adjacent to Russia. Shouldn't we really go in your face to Putin and start supplying Ukraine with those weapons that they need to defend themselves?
Well, we should have been doing that all this time. It was President Trump that actually provided lethal defensive weaponry. Congress authorized President Obama $300 million worth. He always refused to offer and supply lethal defensive weaponry. President Trump did that. So you didn't see this kind of threat coming out of Vladimir Putin when President Trump was in office. You only see this once Joe Biden becomes president and demonstrates weakness across the board. No, America, the world should be highly concerned.
And, you know, the Wall Street Journal had a piece yesterday. It says "Rogues on the March" is the title of the piece, talking about Iran and China as well as Russia. They say the world is entering a dangerous period. The hard men in Moscow, Tehran, and Beijing are going to test Mr. Biden to expand their power and spheres of influence, and it isn't at all clear if or how Mr. Biden will respond. Well, Mr. Biden has already responded to the situation in Afghanistan in a way that everybody admits was a disaster. What happens if Russia just waltzes in and we don't do much to stop them from doing that?
You'll encourage further aggression. I'm also concerned about our military readiness. With the current Secretary of Defense more concerned about wokeness than military readiness. So again, these are I wish I didn't have to talk about these things. I wish I didn't have to really utter these truths, but this is what we're dealing with right now under the Biden administration and Democrat governance. America has to awaken to the urgency of this moment.
Senator Johnson, good to see you. Thank you very much for being here. Appreciate it.